RBD Defense.
Oman is gifting India 20 of their retired Jaguar fighter jets. I personally think this is a very wholesome thing, but this does raise some questions. You see, the Jaguar is a very old aircraft. Both of the creators of the Jaguar, France and the United Kingdom, retired it from their air forces in 2005 and 2007 respectively. Even Oman retired the Jaguar from their air force over a decade ago in 2014. So a reasonable person would think that India would also retire the Jaguar soon, as everyone else has retired it 1 to 2 decades ago. But not only is India not retiring the Jaguar, they are doubling down by getting the ones that Oman retired. So what is going on here? Luckily for you, I'm going to answer that question and cover a lot more in this video, such as the effectiveness of India's Jaguar in the modern era, where they are stationed and how many, and how will India use them in a hypothetical conflict. I will also go over the Jaguar's crash record and assess how long India can keep this fleet alive. So make sure you pay attention because we have an exciting video ahead. Welcome to the Jaguar video. Let's start from the beginning. Why is India doubling down by getting more old retired Jaguars when they should be retiring the Jaguars that they already have? The reason for this is that the Indian Air Force's fighter jet squadron count would collapse even further than it already has if they retired the Jaguar. And I don't use the word collapse lightly here. The Jaguar is India's second most common fighter jet. The only fighter jet India has more units of than the Jaguar is the Su-30 MKI. India has more Jaguars than they do Rafales and Tejas combined. According to DW, after retiring the MiG-21 Bison, the Indian Air Force only has 29 fighter jet squadrons, the lowest number ever and way below the sanctioned strength of 42 squadrons. So now we know why India can't retire the Jaguar fleet. But how did they get into such a bad spot to begin with? The answer to that is the Tejas. The Tejas was supposed to replace the MiG-21 and eventually the Jaguar, but it ended up replacing neither because it's a complete failure. I will not talk more about the Tejas here because I already made an entire video where I covered the entire history of the Tejas and explained step by step why it's a complete failure. I will link that video in the description if you want to watch that video after this. But in short, since the Tejas is such a failure, the Jaguar has no replacement. So India won't be able to retire the Jaguar for another 10 or, if I'm being realistic, 15 to 20 more years. So the retired Omani Jaguars India is getting will likely be salvaged for parts so India can attempt to keep their Jaguar fleet alive for another 10 to 20 years. Speaking of India's Jaguar fleet, let's take a look at it. India has 80 Jaguars spread across 6 different fighter jet squadrons. These squadrons are the 5th and 14th Fighter Jet Squadron based in Ambala, Haryana, the 6th and 224th Fighter Jet Squadrons based in Jamnagar, Gujarat, and lastly, the 16th and 27th Fighter Jet Squadrons based in Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. So now that we know the quantity and where they are located, let's discuss how India would use these Jaguars in a hypothetical conflict and how effective they can really be. As you can see on the map, 4 out of the 6 Jaguar squadrons are right next to Pakistan, so there is no doubt about who India plans to use them against. The 2 squadrons in Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh are pretty far away from the border with Pakistan. I assume they are there as backup in case the Jaguars in Ambala get shot down. Speaking of Jaguars being shot down, let's talk about how effective the Jaguars will be against a hypothetical conflict against Pakistan. The Jaguar was designed as a deep strike aircraft, so it would fly deep into enemy territory at a low altitude, avoiding radar detection and use its air-to-surface munitions on the target, then come straight back. Sounds simple enough. The issue is that during the Jaguars era, so the 1970s and 80s, the most advanced air defense system was the S-200 Gammon. Yes, the S-200 Gammon, which at the time was completely brand new, and the Jaguar could actually avoid it pretty fine, as radar technology was very primitive back then. Short-range SAM systems and manpads were very, very uncommon. Most short-range air defense systems back then were anti-aircraft guns, so really the only thing the Jaguar would need to worry about was the S-200 Gammon. But the S-200 Gammon wasn't really a very big problem either because the S-200 Gammon was focused on shooting down high altitude targets like high speed interceptors and spy planes. So basically, during a deep strike mission, a Jaguar would either face little or absolutely no air defense at all. Today's air defense environment is the complete opposite. In this era, short-range SAM systems and manpads are the most common form of air defense. This means the Jaguar can't just fly into enemy territory at a low altitude without needing to worry about advanced short-range SAM systems or some guy with a manpad being in the area. So the Jaguar's deep strike capability is basically completely gone. I mean, there's a reason that modern deep strike aircraft like the Su-34 and the F-15 Strike Eagle are so much more advanced than the Jaguar, because the modern air defense environment is extremely dangerous. So since deep strike is out of the question, the Jaguar can only be used as a close air support aircraft. The effectiveness of the Jaguar as a close air support aircraft depends on who is invading and who is defending. If India is defending against a Pakistani invasion, then it will be a lot better for the Jaguar because one, it will have strategic depth, two, Su-30s and MiG-29s will be able to cover it while staying inside of Indian territory away from the front line, and three, defense is just a lot more favorable position than offense. The Jaguars would still be the easiest fixed wing target for Pakistan, but at least this way they have some defense. That being said, India attacking Pakistan is the much more likely scenario, as every 3 to 4 months the Indian government starts making inflammatory statements about attacking some part of Pakistan to distract their voter base from the fact that Chernobyl has better air quality than Delhi. If India launched a full-scale invasion of Pakistan, then 90% of India's Jaguars would get shot down in the first month. Yes, you heard that right. Even if the Jaguars don't go deep into enemy territory, keeping out of the range of Pakistan's short-range SAM systems, the Jaguars will still be the easiest fixed-wing target on the battlefield even if they're only doing a close air support role. Because the Jaguar is essentially defenseless against enemy fighter jets. Yes, it can carry the ASRAM short-range air-to-air missile, but for one, the ASRAM doesn't give it a whole lot of capability, and for second, if it's carrying air-to-air missiles, that limits the amount of air-to-surface munitions it can carry, and if it is going to play a close air support role, it needs the maximum amount of air-to-surface munitions as possible. And to add on top of that, the Jaguar is really slow. Its top speed is only Mach 1.1. Even an F-7 could kill the Jaguar easily. The F-7 PG has double the top speed and can exclusively carry air-to-air missiles. To prevent the Jaguar from becoming an F-7 victim, India has to provide the Jaguar with security by having it be escorted by other fighter jets like the Su-30 and MiG-29, which puts them in danger because then they will have to get closer to the battlefield. And this would be especially dangerous for the Su-30 because its radar signature is the size of Nepal. I completely forgot to mention manpads. The Jaguar is slow, flies at a low altitude, and is bulky. It's basically the prime target for a manpad, which is the most common form of air defense in the modern era. And manpads have seen huge success in both Ukraine and Myanmar. Like the Jaguar literally has nothing going for it. Okay, so now you know why India's Jaguar fleet would rapidly dwindle in an actual conflict. But even without any conflict, India's Jaguar fleet still has been dwindling from crashes. According to Indian sources, since induction up until 2015, India has lost between 50 and 65 Jaguars to crashes. And since 2015, this problem has gotten significantly worse, with Indian media outlets claiming that between 15 and 30 Jaguars have crashed in the last 10 years alone. So from 2015 to 2025. Just this year, in 2025 alone, India has crashed 3 Jaguars. On March 7th, a Jaguar crashed near Ambala and the pilot was able to eject safely. Not even a month later, in April 2nd, another Jaguar crashed near Jamnagar and killed its pilot. Then, on the 9th of July, another Jaguar crashed and killed both of its pilots. Wait a second. India's Jaguar IM and IS are both single seat. Okay, so I checked a bunch of different articles, and all of them say that this crash killed both of the pilots, even though the Jaguars are single seat. So was one sitting on the other one's lap? I mean, what? Man, I don't even want to talk about this thing anymore. Ending thoughts. India can't replace the Jaguar for another 10, 20 years. And the Jaguar is completely useless in combat, as I explained. It crashes a lot because it's a old dinosaur plane. What an absolutely crazy video, man. If you have watched till the end, comment 2 pilots, 1 seat. Yeah, comment 2 pilots, 1 seat. Everyone who comments 2 pilots, 1 seat, I'm going to heart your comment and I'm going to reply to every single comment that says this. The first person to comment this is also going to get pinned. But even if you're not the first person to comment 2 pilots, 1 seat, I am still going to heart and reply to every single comment. But the first one to do it is going to get pinned. Thank you for watching till the end, and I will see you in the next video.